Here we are with Reed Harris, owner and originator of the World Extreme Cage Fighting on the last night. It's been a long ride. MMA Weekly, we followed you guys for a long time with one of our own, Ryan Bennett, who used to do some commentary for you, and you guys even did a tribute show to help his wife out. Definitely a place in our hearts. What's some of the emotions going through your head?
A lot of during the week I've thought about things like Ryan and really just all the people I've met in this business and just how great they are. I mean, one of the benefits of doing what I've done is becoming close with a lot of the fighters. And that was something I never anticipated. When I got involved in it, it was really, I thought, more of a nuts and bolts kind of thing, and I didn't understand that the relationships that you would form with the fighters and all the people involved, the referees and Josh and Herb and all these guys have just become very close to me, and those won't go away. So I'm just grateful to be in the position I'm in.
Looking at tonight, I mean, just an amazing fight. In fact, the WEC shows you built it up where pretty much every show's been an amazing
Everyone gets
show.
Better, yeah.
Some people are going to look and kind of sad to see it go. Definitely with the stacked cards and how it'll be. But what are your feelings of being able to end it with a night like tonight?
Well, I mean, certainly great that it ended the way it did, but also, these fights are going to continue in the UFC. These guys are going to be throwing these kicks and doing these these things they do, and the bantamweights and featherweights, and obviously guys like Pettis and Henderson are going to be competing in UFC. So it's really closing one door and opening another. I mean, and to put these guys in front of the kind of crowds and the kind of viewership that the UFC commands is just going to be, unbelievable, and I think they're going to get even better than they are now.
What are some of your the highlights looking back of some of your favorite moments?
I had a lot of them. I mean, I was talking earlier this week about the Polakowski-Olaf fight, which is going way back into the vaults, but that fight was unbelievable. And my friend Dana White was in the audience. It was the first show he had seen. He came up to me afterwards. He's like, "That's one of the best fights I've ever seen." And coming from Dana, that's huge, And I also mentioned that the walkout that Uriah did on that, not only the first fight with Pulver, but the second fight with Aldo at Sacramento Arena, it just gave me chills, And during that time, I mean, certainly watching Chuck Liddell fight, who was my good friend, watching him win all those fights and hold that belt, knowing what a great guy he is, knowing how hard he worked for that, it just really made me feel good,
So when you look at the WEC, do you see some similarities to, the growth of MMA from the grassroots to the big time? Because the WEC's kind of made that, transition.
Yeah, sure. We've been around from the beginning. I mean, we literally started our company right when Lorenzo Fertitta and Frank Fertitta and Dana purchased UFC, and I said this again last week too, and someone said, what was the biggest moment in MMA during the run? And I really think it was the day Lorenzo Fertitta told Dana, "Let's keep it going." Because I'll tell you what, I knew in my heart that if they didn't make it, we weren't going to make it. We knew the UFC was going to be the driving force to build the sport and get it to where it has. And there couldn't have been better people running it, and and Dana and Lorenzo and Frank, and this is where we are now. And to be able to become part of that company is it's very gratifying.
Yeah, and you guys have always had a good working relationship with the UFC, with Dana and the Fertittas.
Always from the beginning, right?
And as you make this transition, can you say what your role is going to be in the future with the UFC?
Not yet, but we've had a number of discussions. It's going to be good. I mean, I'm excited about.
You're not going anywhere.
No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying in Las Vegas, and like Dana said, the company's growing so fast. And I mean, the people I mentioned tonight literally are the people that ran WEC. I mean, we had this huge machine behind us, which was the UFC, and I don't want to take anything away from them because their accounting department and their PR department, all these people who are all here tonight, have helped us. But they were, Peter Dropick and myself and Melissa and Dave and Sean and we did these shows, and Dana needs people like that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens that it's funny. When we first were acquired, I was to meet with Dana, and he drove up in his car. I had flown to Las Vegas to meet with him, and he said, "I can't meet with you. Something's gone very bad." And he drove off, and I kind of got a sense that this is maybe what I was in for. And it's like Dana says, when he wakes up in the morning, you're not really sure what's going to happen, but you know something bad's going to happen. And that's really what he does so well, is he's been able to navigate all that, solve those problems, build the sport to the point now where with the bantamweight and featherweights, I think it's just going to be unstoppable.
Do you kind of feel like, even though you're now with the UFC, that those divisions are kind of like your babies?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, when I watch those fights, I'm going to certainly have, certainly years from now there'll be other guys competing that I wasn't involved with, but I think my relationship with the fighters will be intact, and I think my new role will have something to do with that, because I've worked so closely with the teams, and I know everybody, and I think that they all respect me and like me, and for what I've done, and I think they'll continue with that. So,
what was it like in the ring when you were putting the belt on? Well, 2 times. First of all, when you're with Dominic Cruz, and this time you had the UFC belt in your hand.
It was huge.
What was that like?
It was great. I was like, wow, I'm putting a UFC belt on a dude. I mean, how many guys get to do that?
Yeah.
One other? That's it? So now there's 2 of us. And,
now there's 2.
I think that Dana will probably take those responsibilities and continue with them, but it was fun to do it once, and it's kind of maybe like jumping out of a plane. You do it once and that's it, and you get done, and then you don't want to do it again. So I was happy to do
Any
that.
last thoughts that are on your mind that you'd like to say?
Well, no, I mean, I just want to thank the fans, the people that have supported us. I mean, I'm on the Underground, I'm on MMA Weekly, I'm on all these sites, I'm always reading the stuff, and I've always had a lot of support from fans, and I really appreciate that. So thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks a lot for the years and all the great fights.
All right, thanks, buddy. First of all, I want to thank the staff at WEC, Melissa Hendricks, Sean Shelby, Frank Carreri, Peter Dropick, who's been my partner in running WEC, and you just couldn't work with a better person. Dave Schaller, the best PR guy in the business, actually. And who? Oh, that's Dave Schaller. Great. Cowboy has been calling him my assistant for like a year, and I think it bothers him. But I'd also like to obviously thank my family, my wife Laura. There were a lot of ups and downs doing this over the last 10 years. There were a lot of nights that I was out, putting these things together, doing these shows, traveling. She supported me the whole way, my kids, everybody. So as far as my family's concerned, I really appreciate their support. And for you guys, the media, who have really become friends of mine, and I really feel like we're all going down the same path with the sport. You guys want to see it succeed just like I do, and a night like tonight goes a long way to that. Lastly, I'd like to thank the guys at Tap Out. You guys are the best. You always had my back. You're my brothers. All right. So with that, a couple of announcements. Tomorrow, I guess, the fight between Menjivar and Brad Pickett will be available on Versus.com for free. So please get that out so the fans can see it, because that was a great fight. And then also on UFC.com this weekend, we'll be running some of the prelim fights that didn't get on TV, so people have a chance to watch them. With that, guys, thanks.